And we're on. Well, thanks everyone for making time to appear on this live stream.
Thanks so much for having me on the stream, Echo Chamberlain.
Nice to be with you, dude. Your channel is way undersubscribed.
Hello there. Are my microphone levels and camera okay?
Yes, you're fine, Obi-Wan.
What stream is this again?
Oh, I'm Echo Chamberlain.
Okay. I can't hang around too long. After this, I'm doing an all-night stream on EFAP, then going back into the back to tank.
Well, as I mentioned in the group email, I wanted to bring you guys together to discuss who out of the four of you had the most garbage Star Wars show on Disney+. Ahsoka, since you've been the most recent, I could start with you. Why was yours the worst?
Echo? Sorry. Can I just jump in before we start and say how unfortunate it is that there are YouTubers like Yellow Flash who have more than 400,000 subscribers when they don't even put in a tenth of the effort that you do in producing content.
Well, that's nice of you to say, Obi-Wan, but I'd like to stay on track.
I don't see why she gets to go first. It's obvious that my show was the worst. It descended into nonsense and relied too much on the kid as a cynical merchandising opportunity.
At least your show had a few decent bits and pieces. Mine was a steaming pile of dog shit from the very beginning.
Well, in actual fact, mine was clearly the worst, because I'm the most beloved legacy character, and my show let everyone down the most.
Okay, I know you've all got a lot to say, but everyone will have their turn, I promise. Now, Ahsoka.
Thanks, Echo. In my show, literally all the characters are stupefyingly boring. I spent half the show talking in a dreary monotone with my arms folded, and the other half in tedious, averagely choreographed fight scenes. There were vague drives and motivations, mystery box bullshit, and getting stabbed with a lightsaber no longer spells certain death. There were no major revelations or satisfying character arcs. There were stretches without anything happening that were so long, you could literally take a shit and come back, and nothing had changed. My show was weirdly sexless, with nothing but lame platonic relationships. I don't know why Gen Z writers have so many hang-ups about sex, when all they do is blabber on and on about the encyclopedic intricacies of their sexual orientations.
Well, Ahsoka, you make a pretty compelling case. Now, Mando, you were saying earlier that your Star Wars show at least had some provisional goodwill, but then it started to turn boring and farcical. Is that a fair assessment?
That's quite an accurate summation, Echo Chamberlain. It started out with me and the kid, and it was simple, even charming fare that felt like a nice change of pace after the tedious letdown of the sequel trilogy. But things gradually turned to shit as Dave Filoni and Jon Favreau disappeared up their respective asses, and there was all this contrived lore and chick Mandalorians. I started off as a cool ancillary character, and am now voiced by a guy who dresses like a mix of Nazi Gestapo officer and 50s big band revival. The magic wore off, leaving just dull fetch quests. By the time Grogu was running around near a ceiling to evade being sliced apart, the whole thing was a write-off.
Well, thanks for weighing in, Mando. Obi-Wan, I guess it's time to give you a crack at explaining why your Disney Plus Star Wars show was worse than the ones featuring these other guys.
Thank you, Echo. As I alluded to earlier, I at least offered a legacy character of sorts, and decent acting chops. But not even that could withstand the poor writing that marred what might have been a quality show. Little Leia was clearly insufferable. The Inquisitors were about as threatening as a blissfully euphoric bloke off his tits on E in a club, clinching you in a loving embrace. Most viewers were aghast when Leia tried to run away at 0.1 mile per hour from pursuing adults. I'm sorry to contradict you, Ahsoka, but my show had not one, but 2 lightsaber stabbings from which characters survived, and far too much use of poor Darth. I don't think there can be any doubt at all that my show was by far the worst that Disney sharded onto our screens.
Well, some interesting arguments there. And last but not least, Boba Fett. Why would you categorize yours as the worst of all these Disney Plus Star Wars shows?
Echo Chamberlain. Besides it being great to hear another New Zealand accent, let me just say that my show was unwatchable schlock from the beginning. My show even had Mando from another show take over for 2 episodes. And there was a carnival of cretinous crap and member berries involving Tatooine, Jabba's palace, Sand People, a Rancor, some Hutt, and the addition of Cad Bane, whose digitally rendered mouth movement was actually more primitive and shitty looking than in this video.
Well, on that note, now that I've had a chance to hear all your perspectives, I'm gonna sum things up by saying that all of your shows sucked equally.
Whoa, dropping some truth bombs there.
No, that's totally fair.
I can get on board with that.
That's legitimate.